Hey YouTube, this is Bob from Spaz Dojo, and today I'm going to be showing you all the boss weapons, special weapons, I guess you could call them, from Dark Souls 2. This is part 1. There will be 2 parts of this video. Part 2 will come out in a couple of days, because it is kind of hard to get these weapons, and you need multiple of the same soul. So, I sped up the footage, and I'm just showing you guys buying them. All of the weapons here cost $1,500, and this one was free because it's the first time I found this chick. But anyway, so these are more expensive, and I think a lot of these are better from this bird lady. And I will be showing each weapon individually. I will be talking about the stats. Sorry about I put the descriptions up for the weapons, but I forgot to show the stats long enough for everyone to see. So sorry about the sound because I sped it up. I'll probably just get rid of the sound because I can hear it and it sounds crazy. But there's a lot of weapons. You need multiple souls of the same one for some of them, so that's why it'll be a few days before I can get part 2 out. But all the weapons that I bought I will showcase, except for one, because for some reason I just forgot to. Alright, so the first weapon is Martha's Bent Blade. It does 40 physical damage, 67 poison at base. You can read the description if you so choose. You need 5 strength and 20 dex, and it scales with a B in dexterity, and it is a dagger. So if you don't know, in Dark Souls, daggers hit a lot of backstab damage, and as you see here, I destroyed this guy, even though the weapon is not upgraded, and I'm not really heavy in dex on this build. The second sword is the Moonlight Greatsword. Alright, so the Moonlight Greatsword, you need to fight the spider lady, the Duke Fraja, again, and you get it the second time. You get a special soul, and you can get this. It has a special attack, as you can see, just like in the other Dark Souls. So the stats, it does 0 physical damage, but 152 base magic damage. It takes 18 strength to wield, 18 dex, and 18 intelligence, and it scales an A in intelligence. So this is definitely a heavier caster build weapon. It hits a lot of damage, but it's all magic. So the next weapon is the Thorned Greatsword. Now this is, I think, from the Mirror Knight. It does 84 base physical damage, as you can see, 50 lightning damage. You need 20 strength, 15 dex, and 14 faith, and they scale C in every single one of those categories. I quite like this weapon. As you can see, it does nice electrical damage. It has a nice swing. It's just like the other great swords. Such as the Black Knight Greatsword, I believe, just the regular one, and that is my favorite weapon in this game so far. I will probably have a video on that sword too. But I really like this electric attack. It does eat up the repair, as you can see on my weapon over there, or the repair bar, but it is really nice, and I like the two-hand downward swing more than the other great swords you usually have. So it's a good weapon overall. So the next weapon is the Watcher Greatsword. Now the Watcher Greatsword hits 84 physical damage, 50 lightning, or no, 74 physical damage, 60 magic, 18 strength is what you need. It scales with E in strength. You need 16 dex, scales with D in that, and you need 15 intelligence. So this is another casting weapon, and it scales with D in intelligence too. It's the normal Greatsword swing, which is the Bastard Sword of the Claymore. I don't like this weapon as much, but I'm not very high in intelligence in this build. I actually had to change my stuff so that I could use this weapon. But it does have the downward swing, which is nice. Okay, so the Ruler Sword, it does 112 base damage. You need 20 strength. That scales a C in strength, 20 dex, C in dex, and intelligence. You need 16 and 16 faith. This weapon requires a lot of different stats, and I don't really like that, and the sword isn't really that great. But it does get stronger, if you read the description, with the more souls that you hold. Also, the Watcher Sword, you need the Watcher Soul, which is a boss in the game. And the Roller Sword, you need the King Soul, which you get from killing King Vendrick, which is a freaking pain, by the way. And you can get that later. I have a video on that, and I will upload how to get that soul, because it's kind of confusing. But I don't really like this weapon as much, but the more souls you have, the harder it's supposed to hit. I got like 20,000, it didn't help, so I don't know. Smelter Sword. It is an Ultra Great Sword, 132 physical, 100 flame damage or fire damage. You need 40 strength, and it scales a D in that, and 10 dexterity, it scales a D in that. I think the sword is the coolest looking sword I've seen so far in this game. It looks awesome, and it has one of the coolest special attacks I've ever seen in any Dark Souls or well, Souls series game, which I will show in a second here. It only scales a D in the main stats, so it's not that great for scaling, but it is a really cool sword. I don't think it's really the best sword, but it could be. It's viable. It's very viable in some situations. Obviously, the weapons that I show here are going to be low because they're in base, so they're not leveled up at all because I didn't have anywhere near enough time to get enough stuff to level up every single weapon. Alright, so the next is a Lost Sinner's Greatsword, or it's an Altar Greatsword actually. You get it from the Lost Sinner. 160 base damage, but you need 24 strength, scales a D with that. Dexterity, 18, scales a D with that as well. I think this is a Altar Greatsword, I believe. It looks more like a regular Greatsword. It's okay. It's just an okay Greatsword. It has high base physical damage. It doesn't scale that well, and you kind of need high stats. But I mean, and it's a Greatsword, which kind of has its moveset. I think its moveset is a little slower and worse. So it's not the best, but it's okay. Like most of these, so far I've liked other normal swords better than most of these, but they are viable. So the Pursuer's Ultra Greatsword. It hits 156 base. You need 30 strength, but it scales a B with strength. You need 18 dex, scales a C with dex. You need to kill the Pursuer to get this, and use his soul. So this sword I liked. I thought it was kind of a faster Greatsword. And I like the moveset of the Greatsword, the regular Greatsword. I like how it swings downwards in its strike. But it scales pretty well with strength, and it scales decently well with dex. Definitely viable. You see I'm hitting more damage with this than I was with the last sword. It's definitely pretty good. I don't know if I would probably say get this over the regular Greatsword because it scales, I think, better. Alright, so this is the Drakewing Ultra Greatsword. Sorry about that switch transition. I was getting attacked. Hits 136 base damage, physical. You need 20 strength and 18 dex for this. And I'm not sure what it scales in. I didn't write that down, but if you pause the video, you'll be able to see. And actually, I'll just have an annotation on the screen that tells you what this scales in, because I wasn't able. But it has a cool second attack that's like a shockwave, and that's pretty awesome, and it hits quite a bit of damage. Alright, the next weapon is a Spider Fang. It hits 84 base damage and 10 strength. And that scales an E in strength. Dexterity is a 25, scales an A in dexterity, which is pretty good. Its secondary attack slows enemies, which sucks because it doesn't do very much. And as you see in this video, I end up breaking the sword because I used it like 4 times, and I didn't realize that it was going to break my sword. To get this, I think you need the Deer Duke's Fraja Soul, but I fought him twice, so that's why I can get this one as well. And oh, and the Drakewing Ultra Greatsword, it's from the dragon that you fight before you go to the last area of the game. So the Arced Sword hits 144 base damage. Strength is 26 that you need. It scales a C in strength and 16 dex, and it scales a B in dex, which is actually pretty good if you actually look at the stats. You get this from the Felix Sentry boss, I believe, in that one pirate place. I don't remember exactly the name. And what I like about the sword is I like the swing, but the two-hand swing is god-awfully slow, as you will see here in a second. It's pretty terrible, if you ask me. It kind of reminds me of the Murakumo from Dark Souls. I don't quite like it as much, I don't think. But the scaling is nice, but the problem is that it has 26 strength. So, yeah, at this point, you have to have more strength than you do dex to wield, even though it scales better in dex. So you're kind of using a lot of points in strength that you probably shouldn't have to. Now this is one of my favorite weapons so far, is the Curved Dragon Greatsword. It has 160 base, you need 30 strength, and you need 18 dex, and it scales an S in dex and a C in strength. Now like I said before, you have to have a lot of strength with this, but it is an Ultra Greatsword, so it makes, I think the other one was a Curved Greatsword, but actually this is probably a Curved Greatsword as well. But it has a secondary attack that is really awesome. It shoots like a wave, kind of like the other one. And it hits a lot of base damage, along with scaling dexterity and S. At this point, you might as well not have as much health, and you might as well go with the strength. If you're going for a pure DPS build, this seems like it would be a really good weapon to go with. If you could get like 30 strength and like 40 dex or something crazy like that. The moveset is a little annoying, but it's not too bad. It's doable. It's pretty nice. So, The Spider Silk is the next weapon. It is a rapier, I believe. I don't know. Or like that type of sword. 72 base damage. Strength 5 you need, and dexterity 20. This also scales with NS and dexterity, so this is really good. I think it's like a thrusting weapon or something. And it has a special attack that breaks through blocks, I believe, with the R2. But I never got to test that out. I'll just take the game's word for it. Yeah, like I said, it scales with S and Dex, which is really good if you're going for a dexterity build, especially if you're going for maybe like a ranged dexterity. You could have this as your second weapon, pretty light weapon, and it pokes for a lot of damage. I only have 25 dex right now, I think, with this build, so it wasn't as good as it could have been, but it was still pretty good. I killed this guy off pretty fast. It wasn't too bad. Backstabbing really didn't do as much damage as I thought it would, but just stabbing does a nice bit of damage. The next weapon is the Butcher's Knife. You get it from that one bodies guy. I don't remember what he was. But yeah. The Butcher's, it hits 120 physical damage. You need 25 strength, scales an E and that, and Dex scales. You need 8 Dex, and it doesn't scale at all with that. That is quite horrible, to be honest, but the moveset is really nice. I think this is considered like an axe, but the moveset's quite nice, to be honest. The R2 attack is terrible, but it has a special effect that it absorbs enemies' HP when you kill them, which you will see when I kill this guy. It's nice, but it's not really that great. It doesn't absorb very much. I don't know if you have better strength if it does, but I have 50 strength at this point because I rescaled for some of these weapons. And 120 strength isn't that great. It moves fast enough though that it's still viable. But it's not the best weapon in the game, especially not the best special weapon. Especially since it doesn't scale very well and it has kind of a high strength requirement. But yeah. So the next one is the Giant Stone Axe. It hits 160 physical damage. You need strength. You need 45 of that. It scales a D in that, and you need 8 dex, which scales not at all in that. So the thing about this axe is it sucks as well, in my opinion. I don't really like this axe very much. I don't really like most of the axes in this game that are like the great axes or whatever. The reason I don't like this is because it's really slow. It doesn't hit that much damage. There's better options. It has pretty high base damage. I don't know how much it would if you leveled it up, but the scaling for how much strength you need isn't that great. 45 strength, a D in scaling. So, oh yeah, this one, I don't remember who you kill to get this. You get a giant soul to get this. I will have a link in the description of all the souls you need for these. I'll link you to the wiki for these weapons, but I'm not for sure exactly who you get this from. But as you see, I try to kill this guy. I'm struggling. It's really slow. I don't like the moveset. No special attacks. I don't really like these type of weapons, and I don't think they're that good. So... Alright, the next weapon is the Sacred Chime Hammer. 152 base damage, does 50 dark damage, scales C in strength, you need 40 strength, 12 in dex, 12 intelligence, and 12 faith. I don't think it scales with any of those, correct, you can look at it. I believe that it only scales in strength, but it has a special secondary attack that shoots this like dark magic, and I was having a really hard time getting it off because this guy was being a big jerk. But I get it off here, and you'll see it shoots like these dark magic ball things at them. I was hoping that it would just hit them a ton of damage, but I don't know if these people have high dark defense or if it just doesn't hit that much damage. Really, this is kind of like a convoluted because you need so much of the other stats, and I don't know. It's okay. The next one is the Iron King Hammer. 112 physical damage, 50 flame damage. You need 50 strength to wield it. Also, the old Chime Hammers, you have to fight that Chime guy before the boss, before the King Vendrick guy. I'll have the link to that guy to get his soul. And the Iron and you need 50 strength, scales of D, 8 dex, scales of D in that as well. This you get from killing the I'm not sure what you get for this. It's probably in the flame area somewhere. I quite like this weapon actually, even though I think it's okay. For some reason the two-hand special weapon attack is the secondary attack or whatever special attack is not anywhere near as strong as the one hand. So I don't know what's up with that, but whatever. Alright. So the next weapon is the Dragon Slayer Spear. 52 physical, 60 lightning. Strength you need 16. Dex you need 25. Faith you need 14. And it scales an E in strength, a B in Dex, and a C in faith. Which is pretty good, I think, because that's lightning. That's lightning damage. I think that scales with faith, I'm pretty sure. This, as you can see, shoots lightning. This weapon was actually in Dark Souls 1, and it's Ornstein's spear. And you fight Ornstein in this game as well, and that's how you get this weapon. In this game, he's called the Old Dragon Slayer, but I'm pretty sure it's Ornstein because it looks exactly like it. It scales well in Dex, doesn't need too much strength, scales pretty well in Faith, and it's a pretty good weapon overall. Now, I cut to the Defender Shield. I will put this, you can see the stats, you'll have to pause, there's no way I'm reading all these stats. But the Defender Shield you get from the Defender Soul, and it's pretty good. I do the backstab here. It's one of the best regular shields I've seen. Has a lot of defense, really good. So it's just that. This is the Gargoyle Bident. You get it for killing the gargoyles, the soul. You get it from that, and you can trade for it. 100 physical, strength is 15, scales with C, Dex 25. And I didn't see what it scaled with Dex, so I will put that on the screen. I would imagine it scales with a B or higher, or maybe not at all. I don't know. I didn't write down what it scales with in Dex. But this is an okay weapon. I'm not really a big fan of spears. I like the dragon spear, but not really this one as much, just because it's kind of plain. And yeah, I just don't like it as much. It's alright. I would definitely pick the Dragon Slayer spear over this. But you don't need the faith requirement, so if you're really into spears, it might be pretty decent. It doesn't actually scale on Dex at all, as you can see in the video. I skipped over that one. I skipped over the Dragon Slayer or Dragon Rider Halberd for some reason. Anyway, so the Roaring Halberd, 72 strength, yeah, 72 damage, physical, strength 16, Dex 12, scales with a B in Dex. You need 12 intelligence, 12 faith, and it hits 10 dark damage, or 100 dark damage, my bad. I'm not sure, I think darks might scale with faith as well. I'm not sure if it does in this at all. This weapon's okay as well. I think it's another spear. It's supposed to be a halberd, so it has a halberd set, I'm pretty sure, for attacking, but it has the spear thing. I don't know if all halberds do that or not. This is an alright weapon too. Okay, so Bone Scythe, 112 base damage. It's a kind of a recent occurrence. Strength 28, scales with a B in strength. Dex 20, doesn't scale with Dex at all, which I thought was really weird because the Scythe in the other game definitely scales with Dex, and you don't need that much strength. You get this for defeating Jabba the Hutt, or whatever that guy. I don't remember what his name is, but that's what he looks like. And I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense, but yeah. It has the Scythe's moveset, I think. I don't know. It was a pretty cool moveset. I've never used Scythes before, not even in Dark Souls 1. Scales pretty well with strength, so I mean if you're a strength a strength character, wouldn't be too bad, which I definitely am right now. And I'm still not hitting these people that much, but it is at base, so, and I don't know how much these people are hurt by dark attacks. Yeah. Okay, so the Scythe of Want you get for beating the last boss. You get Nasharandra, you get her soul, and you can trade for that. The Scythe of Want hits 104 physical damage, 120 dark damage. You need 14 strength, scales with a C, Dex 20, scales B. You need intelligence and faith, both at 18, which is weird. I don't like when they do that a lot of times because it kind of takes, you need a lot to put in those. So you can't really scale as well in Dex if you want a lot of health and endurance. And there's other stuff in this game now, so it makes it even harder with that type of build. I think that if it only needed 14 strength and 20 dex and it scaled the way it does, it would be a pretty good weapon. But at this point, it's good, but it could be much better. And if you want a high damage build with this, it seems like you would have to sacrifice a lot of health, endurance, rolling power, rolling speed, whatever, and stuff like that. But it's still a pretty good weapon overall. It has a lot of it has longer reach than the other Scythe, I believe, and I like the moveset for the R2. It's like really cool looking, even though it didn't really help on this guy because I can't really break his poise very well. But there's 2 other weapons that you get for her soul as well. I don't remember what they are, but I thought this one was the coolest looking, so I think that's why I picked it. I backstabbed this guy to show the backstab animation. And that is about it for this one. Alright. Chariot Lance. It's 124 base, 67 bleeding damage, and you need 30 strength. It scales with a B in that, and 18 dex scales with E in dex. It's kind of a lot of dex for how low it scales, but I mean, you would probably just want to leave it at 18 or maybe get it to maybe 20. I actually like this weapon though. The moveset's pretty cool. I like how it looks. It hits a lot of times. If the poison's broken easy, it's kind of a nice weapon to have. You get this for fighting the Chariot guy from the beta. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure that's where you get it. I don't remember what he is. You can use trade his soul for it. You need a lot of strength for this. It scales pretty well in strength. I think this is actually a pretty viable weapon. It's pretty good. It's not too slow. It's not too heavy. I don't have the weights listed for all these, but you should be able to see all the weights because they're in the bottom right corner for all of these. That is why I did not list them. So, or I'm not talking about those. But overall, I kind of like this weapon. It's pretty good. Sorry about like the long time it takes for this video, but it took me a long time to get all of this footage, and it takes me a while because I want to show off the weapons enough so that people understand how they move, like the moveset some, and the damage they do. So, the next is the Dragon Rider Twin Blade. It does 60 base damage and 80 magic damage. The Dragon Rider soul is obviously what you use to get this. Strength, you need 20. It scales a D. Dex is 22. It scales C. Intelligence, it scales in the C, but I don't think you need any intelligence. I think it scales a C in intelligence. I'm not for sure, but it hits magic damage, so I'm pretty sure it scales with intelligence. If that's not how it works, then I'm not really sure how it works, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Now this weapon is actually really awesome, if you ask me. I just love these twin blade weapons. The regular swinging I wasn't too impressed with. I was like, oh, it's not that great. But when you two-hand this weapon or push the R2 for the strong attack, I think it looks like a lot of the attacks are really cool. And a lot of the stuff that this thing can do is pretty awesome. If there's a lot of enemies, it seems like you could get a little bit fancy and kill them all off really awesome. It keeps swinging. Yeah, just like that. Just love it. But anyway. Alright, the last weapon I'm going to talk about on this list is the Spotted Whip. The Spotted Whip, you have to get the Song Demon's soul, and that is the guy in that one place that looks like a frog. That's all I'm going to say because I don't remember very well. This whip is alright. 60 base damage, or no, 66 base damage, 133 poison damage, 9 strength, 25 dex, scales of B and dex. Overall pretty good if you use whips. I hate whips. I hate this whip. I hate all whips in this game, but I don't know how they work. I never use them. So they're probably pretty good. I do end up backstabbing somebody, and it looks hilarious because I just punched them with the whip. I don't know if I don't think I did that. I think it's right here. After I kill this guy with the whip. I don't really like the whips very much. I don't know how to use them, and I don't know if they're really that effective. But, as you can see here, I'm going to backstab this fool. And it doesn't make any sense. At first I thought maybe you couldn't because I missed it that time, but yeah. So that happened. Alright, so thank you guys for watching. I will have part 2 up in a little while. Rate, comment, subscribe. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully this helps you figure out which weapons you want for the boss from the bosses and which weapons you would like to try out. Have a nice day.